Okay, this is a smaller piece. Obviously, I thought I'd do something on, you know, tubing. It applies to heavy tubing, light tubing, doesn't matter. Anyhow, this has been finished welding, and you can see we're not where we want to be. The metal pulled on us. So the next step is to set up a jig to bend it back, and we're going to heat shrink that back to being flat and where we want it. Now go set everything up and start this again. Okay, so I've set up a set of some tubing. We're going to use that as our jig. I don't mind putting heat on them or getting heat near them. It's cutoffs or drops, so I don't care what happens to them. Okay, that gives us something to clamp to, and I don't have to clamp to my stuff that I use to actually do some precision welding. Okay, we rock it. You can see where you're at. Okay, hold one end down like that, so you just know that you're at a set position. Well, this end over here is high. So what does that mean? Well, you look back down this way, you're down across there, and you're flat. Here you're not. So what we know is we're going to shrink at this corner and at this corner. You can see overall it'd be that one over there and this one here. We've got to bring those down in order to lower this high spot over here. All right, now I'll set up the clamps and go ahead and we'll put the heat to it. Okay, this is your clamp setup. I like to put those against something solid. There's enough weight there to hold it. We're level or square, flat. Let's put it that way, flat. I don't like level because a lot of guys don't work with a level surface. Don't have a level place to work. As long as you're flat, you're good. Okay, I've got a clamp on that corner over there, right here. All right, now let's look underneath it just to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, do you see how this end towards me is high, this corner? All right, the first thing we're going to do to bring that down is I'm going to shrink the opposite end. Now to shrink it, we're going to heat it underneath, not on top here where the X is, but underneath, because we have to draw that up in order to bring that end down. All right, put some heat to it here in a minute. I got clamps on two edges. That's our reference point. Okay, we're holding that flat to the jig. Where we're going to shrink will be here and there. But see, I've left this loose. That has to hinge. Now, in my high spot, I've got clamp on it just to apply pressure. I'm not muscling that all the way down to the jig. You can see there's a little bit of a gap there, I guess. Let's see if you can see it. I hope you can. All right. And all that clamp is for is to apply some pressure. It's the restraint for the shrinking process. I can explain that later, and I will. Now let's get some heat on. Okay, we're going to heat this end first right here. I can't see up under there. tighten it down so everything's flat. And we'll just sit, let it cool off, see what we wind up with. Okay, I'm letting it cool. Normally I like to do this with water, but I don't want to get the water all over my welding table. And you know, air cooling is just, it's the same. It's just a little bit slower. Let's take a look at this clamp, see where we are. See, look, it's loose already. Doesn't take much to... And what this frame does is it prevents it from going too far. You're shrinking back to flat, your frame is flat, and now your piece of weldment is going to be flat. And you just leave it clamped up till you get a full cool, and when you're done, it's going to conform to the jig that it's on, and it keeps it from bending too far one way or the other. And let me see, we'll let it cool probably for about another 5 minutes and we'll come back to it. Okay, it's cooled off now. Where'd we heat it? Yeah, right there. I laid my hand on it, and right here I can lay my hand on it, so we're good. Whoop, there it is. I just put my hand on the big piece of tubing. Yeah, we're good. I did want to cover one thing on this little bit here too, is this clamp, the one that was on the high side, constantly monitor it when you're doing this, because once you put the heat to it, it's going to start shrinking, and it's going to cause this to move, and it's going to move in the direction you want it to move. Well, you had that clamp putting pressure in that direction. Well, once it starts moving, that clamp will start coming loose because she's moving, plain and simple. So you want to monitor that clamp, and if you see it's becoming loose, tighten it. And eventually, you know, you're going to tighten it right down to where you're sitting on the jig, and then you just leave it there. Now, when I was letting it cool, just before I went up in the house, I went ahead and added another clamp back here, just to make sure we're all good, you know, for that final cooling. And I know everything is flat. All right, I'm going to pull the clamps off of it. Let's see what we got. You know those clamps are tight. After you shrink something, they shouldn't be tight, because all the pressure you were putting on there to kind of get that where you wanted it to go is now gone because the thing is straight. Well, I hope it's straight. Let's see what we got. No rock. See, we're good. Our high side is no longer high. No gap. Okay, now where did we heat? Right here. You can see where it was heated, and it's only heated right on that side, not on the other side. And with something tubing this light, you really don't have to do a pie-shaped wedge heating pattern. Generally a little bit of heat across here will do it. Same over here, you can see where that was heated. And it's just enough to make it move. Now you don't need to use a rosebud to do this. You could probably do it with just a standard cutting tip, because this is 11 gauge metal. It's not that heavy, and it's fairly easy to heat. Okay. Oh yeah, and let's take a look at the end just to make sure. Let's look down across there. See, we're good. We had a mess before, and we brought her back to where we wanted to be. I don't care what anybody says, this can't be done without either using a clamp, a chain, or weight. That steel has to be restrained so that it has nowhere to go when you heat it, and has something to work against it while it's cooling. What else did I want to mention? Boy, I guess that's about it for this, at least. And no matter what you weld, you're going to get distortion. Don't let guys tell you that putting it in a jig is going to eliminate distortion. This was welded mostly in a jig, so once I pulled her off of there, there was a big old boing, and we got a warped piece. All right, take care.